Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday to everybody. Back in the saddle today. I've gone through 4 of the Power 5 conferences, division by division. One conference left, the Big Ten. Why did I save the Big Ten for last? Not because I was saving the best for last. Don't even go there. To be completely honest, I was trying to avoid the Big Ten until now because it's the hardest division to predict out of all of them, and it's not even close. It's like trying to predict whether or not they'll even score a point in the playoffs. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Big Ten West, and then I'm going to save the Big Ten East for last. I think it's the most unpredictable division in football. So let's get right into it. Like usual, I'm going to start with the teams I think have no shot. Illinois. I don't know anything about Illinois football. So for me to sit here and pretend like I do would be disingenuous at best. I almost forgot they had a football team. I don't even know what their mascot is, nor do I care. Minnesota. Everybody knows PJ Fleck, right? One of the biggest characters in football. I mean, this guy, Butch Jones was considered to be a motivational speaker. This guy takes motivational speaker to a whole nother level. Butch Jones has nothing on PJ Fleck when it comes to motivational speaking. So Fleck was at Central Michigan, right, in the MAC conference, or was it WAC, MAC, I think MAC? Anyway, he won a couple of Coach of the Year awards in that conference. I think he won a bunch of conference titles. Last year, took over the head coaching job at Minnesota. Everybody knows him for this stupid row the boat thing. He walks around with an oar. I don't know why, but he does. Somebody needs to P-test this guy. Nobody is that jacked up naturally. Last year, he goes 5-7, which was, I guess, a little bit of an improvement from the year before. But you know what? A couple of years before, that last coach had, he didn't get fired. He had to step down because of major illness. But he was actually winning a lot of games for a while there. Well, a lot of games for Minnesota. They were pretty good. PJ Fleck, okay, I don't know. I mean, he went 5-7 last year. If the guy wins 7 or 8 games this year, I would say that's a huge success, and then I might start to feel a little bit better about, giving him the praise that everyone else is giving him. I'm not a big believer in PJ Fleck yet. I have a feeling that in a few years, he'll be rowing that boat back to a group of 5 program. Okay, but sorry, Minnesota, this is not your year. Iowa. So Iowa last year scores 55 points on Ohio State, and then Ohio State fans cry that they have 2 losses, got drubbed by Iowa, and they didn't get into the playoff. Let's be real here, guys. If Ohio State had even beaten Iowa and gotten into the playoff, they would have lost to Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, or Alabama. But anyway, Iowa's head coach, now get this guy, he's going into his 19th season there. His record at Iowa is 143-97. When I read that, I had to look twice and clean my glasses off. I couldn't believe it. That's a pretty good record, especially for at Iowa. So Ferentz is a good coach. I'm surprised he hasn't got a job somewhere else. And he may be one of these coaches like David Cutcliffe. He's an older guy and, gets offers other places and just, why leave Iowa? He's making a bunch of money there. The fans love him. He's an icon. He may just want to retire there and live there one day. Who knows? I don't know. But he's a pretty good coach. However, Iowa did win a Big Ten West title just 3 years ago. So it's not inconceivable, right, that they could win that division. Actually, it kind of is. I think right now, though, they're not primed to do it this year, and I'll get into why later. Nebraska. Nebraska has been a team that's been forgotten about outside of the Big Ten for a while now. They've been really terrible. Of course, they got their hometown guy, Scott Frost, who's coming off a national title, right? Undefeated season at UCF. Really good football coach, young football coach, hometown kid, home run hire. Sounds a lot like Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. Let's hope he has better success than Harbaugh did. This is exactly what Nebraska needed. Now, some things about Nebraska you probably didn't know. First of all, their lifetime bowl record is 26-27. They have a losing record lifetime in bowls. When I think of the Nebraska in the past, I thought, you're talking about a powerhouse, right? I mean, when they were in the Big 12, them, Texas and Oklahoma, man, they were powerhouses. Also, something you may not have known. When Clemson won their first national title in 1981, who did they beat to win it? That's right, you guessed it, Nebraska. On behalf of all Clemson fans, thank you, Nebraska. So, I'm not saying anything shocking here when I say that Scott Frost is probably, within a few years, going to transform that program into a contender for the West every year and eventually for a contender to win the Big Ten outright. How long is that going to take him? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Does he do it at all? Who knows? I don't know. I do know one thing, though. This is not Nebraska's year. Northwestern. Back to my analogies. Northwestern is the Duke of the Big Ten. Great academic university. They have 3 conference titles in their history. That's 3 more than the Gamecocks have in the SEC. You know that Northwestern has only been to 14 bowl games, and their record in those bowl games are 4-10. Wah, wah. That's not very good. To make matters worse, their returning starting quarterback, I think, had surgery early in the year on his ACL, and it looks like he's probably not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. He may miss the entire season. So, for that fact, for all of those facts put together, I'm sorry, Northwestern, this is not your year. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. I don't know why I keep saying that. Purdue. So Purdue has a fairly new head coach, Jeff Brom or Brom. I don't know how you pronounce it. Okay, last year they went 7-6. It was his first season there. Not bad. Now, Purdue is not a very consistent team. Now, if you want to say they're consistent in the way that they are consistently winning 7 games a year on average or something like that, then yeah, they're a consistent team. Okay, without beating around the bush, they're consistently bad. Another interesting tidbit about Purdue, that was one of the schools that Hunter Johnson was saying that he would like to go to. I think it was between Northwestern, Purdue. I've even heard now Duke is in that conversation, which I don't want him to go to the ACC, but you know, whatever. Anyway, if he goes to Purdue, that'd be a good pickup for them. I'm sorry, Purdue fans. Listen, until Purdue can consistently win 9-10 games a year, there's no reason for me to believe that they are any threat to even win the Western Division, let alone the Big Ten. So, sorry, Purdue, this is not your year. Wisconsin. Now, Wisconsin is the favorite across the board to win this division, and why wouldn't they be? Reason number 1, Paul Chryst, really good coach. Okay, his record at Wisconsin is 34-7. They beat up on mediocre Big Ten West teams every year. They have been, for the past few years, a top 10 or even top 5 team. They cruise through that division every year, and then they hit a speed bump in the Big Ten championship game. That speed bump is shaped like a nut. I expect Wisconsin to enter the Big Ten championship game this year, likely 11-1, possibly even 12-0. They have a leading Heisman candidate running back, Jonathan Taylor, who last year ran through everybody, set all kinds of records. I mean, the guy had like, I don't even know, 2,000 yards on the ground or something. I didn't look that up, but I know it was a lot. 1,900, 2,000, something like that. The dude was just killing it. They always have a really good defense. They do struggle against really skillful teams that spread the ball out, i.e. Ohio State. And likely, if somehow they were able to win the West and then win that one game that they need to win, the Big Ten championship game, and find themselves in the playoff, I have a hard time believing that they could beat somebody like Clemson, Auburn, Georgia. You know, the usual suspects that everyone's saying that most likely will go to the playoffs. And the reason is that ground and pound type of football does not usually win in the playoffs. Unless you're Alabama and you have 5 stars on the bench backing up 5 stars at every single position. So don't sit here and tell me, well, Alabama can ground and pound and win national titles. Alabama is not Wisconsin. Stop it. Anyway, I'm picking Wisconsin to win the West, and I give them probably about a 30% chance of winning the Big Ten, unfortunately. They just can't win that one game. See everybody next time for the Big Ten East. Pigskin Pete checking out.